Thank you for attending the Thrive Technologies webinar. I'm going to introduce Bill Neer, who's the Product Development Manager for Thrive, and also Rick Morris, who's the President for Thrive. And Bill, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Again, this is Bill with Thrive, and what I'm going to present to you are 4 disciplines that you can use to achieve higher inventory profitability. A lot of companies we talk to, they've reached a plateau in their inventory metrics, and they really can't break through to a new level on a sustained basis. You might be at 4 turns, and you'd like to get to 5 turns, or maybe you'd like to cut your inventory by 20%. So by adopting these 4 disciplines that our system is built upon, it's going to really help you break through that plateau and sustain that higher inventory performance. Just a little bit about us. We're a leading provider in cloud-based inventory optimization systems to wholesale and master distributors. Our inventory optimization system leverages the data that you already have in your SX.e system to increase the profitability of your inventory. We've been working with distribution companies since 2001, so we've really developed a lot of domain expertise in this niche. We've won a lot of different awards in this industry. A lot of these nominations are, based on a lot of our existing clients. Here I have provided just some selected customers and partners that we work with. Again, but our clients, they're almost all distribution type companies in various industries such as PVF, automotive, plumbing, building supplies, electrical, HVAC, and even food and beverage. As for our partners, we're active in many distribution communities, such as the Associated Building Materials, Southern Wholesalers. We're members of different ERP groups, as well as this TUG user group. But we do, we'll interface with any leading ERP used by distribution companies. We do have plenty of testimonials. One that I just like to bring about is from one of our partner associations in the Associated Building Materials of America. And the reason why is because they really recruited us as a partner, what they call an allied supplier. ABM, they're very selective in choosing allied suppliers for the members' benefits, and they conduct extensive due diligence, including interviews with companies and clients before making decisions. And Gary Tabor, the executive VP at ABM, actually interviewed several customers as well as customers to some of our competitors, and found out what kind of results they had gotten from our system. And he found that Thrive had a very huge financial impact. We have plenty of case studies. This right here is just an example of one to give you an idea of the type of impact we can have on any distributor's inventory. And this is one of our existing customers, Mako Norca. They're a leading provider of pipes, valves, and fittings for residential and commercial customers. We increased their forecast accuracy by 95%, reduced their inventory by 30% after 14 months, improved their line fill rate by 8%. Also, a key vendor of theirs was able to lower their lead times by 10% because Mako shared Thrive's 12-month purchase projections with them. So, in describing how our system works in our 4 disciplines, a lot of times it's helpful if I frame things in the context of really what we're doing, differently than the inventory purchasing functionality that you already have in SX, and how those differences really have such a big impact on your inventory profitability. As within SX you have a lot of different, inventory purchasing settings, and the real challenge, for you as a distributor is you're stocking thousands of SKUs at each of your locations, and for each of your SKUs there are many settings in your ERP to address all the different variables that impact how much you should buy of it, or if you should stock it at all. So even if you have the intricate knowledge to optimize all those settings within SX to the base capability right now, what do you do when things change? If maybe a product category started to get hot and you sell a lot more of it than historically, or another example, maybe you added a new customer who buys certain items heavily, but not at the same time each year. These are just a couple situations that just happen all the time where your demand patterns change and your system parameters really need to be adjusted. The big question is, how do you know which settings to adjust, and then when you should adjust them, and then how do you know if you've made it better? And so what if you had a system that can monitor itself and then adjust its own settings to stay on track towards your business goals? What I'm going to introduce to you is a closed loop system. And if you're not familiar with a closed loop system, I just want you to think about, your modern clothes dryer. The goal is to, dry clothes. So you set the control settings on that dryer, and that the sensor is sending information back and forth to the controller. And it's sensing so the clothes, they don't come out soaking wet, and also so they don't burn up. And it keeps talking back and forth until that goal is met. So why can't your inventory management system be that closed loop system? In order to effectively break through and sustain improvements to your inventory, you need a system that allows you to establish your goals, and then it measures itself, and then it makes adjustments as necessary to keep moving towards your goals. And then it provides feedback if something requires your review. That's what we do. We close the loop on your inventory management, and our system is constantly readjusting its own settings and providing alerts to you as things change to keep you moving towards your goals. We're going to look at a couple of examples using our 4 disciplines for optimal inventory. And you can see the disciplines that we employ in our system are alignment, proactivity, precision, but the key is with that constant measurement within all areas, which provides that feedback loop. The first discipline, alignment, what Thrive does, it aligns goals of management with, the tactical real-world scenarios of your buyers. And I'm going to pull up a report here, and most of you probably use some type of ABC type coding for all of your SKUs. And for example, you can see here we have all A items here. We set these to a 99% service level, and then all the way here to the right, you can see this is how much Thrive is going to hold for safety stock for all your SKUs. So for one of the first things that we did, for example, for that case study that I showed you with Matco and Norco a while ago, was Matco set the desired service levels, and we show them how much inventory the system is going to carry. So that's that feedback loop where you set a goal in the system, and your inventory drives towards that goal. And during implementation, your assigned Thrive replenishment consultant works with your management, your senior management, to really understand your business goals and service orientation. Some companies might want to have everything in stock, that a customer would ever want to buy. Others want to, maximize profitability. In either event, we can set the system to achieve those goals and show you how much inventory in dollars the system's going to carry. So once again, that's that feedback loop so that, everyone can get comfortable with the system settings by actually seeing how much inventory the system's going to hold. And that we call that alignment. The second discipline is precision, and probably the best example of Thrive's precision is our forecast accuracy. We've done a lot of extensive research with various ERP systems, and I'm going to just pull up an example of one of it's a side-by-side comparison we did, and you can see the actual demand in column C right here. Thrive's forecast is in column D, and Thrive's accuracy, the ERP forecast, in column F, and the ERP accuracy is in column G. Our accuracy ran at a 98% at the aggregate level, where the ERP ran 35%. Now, our accuracy doesn't always run this high, but it typically does run over 90% at the aggregate level. And you can see with this first item, it's actually line 4 on this particular SKU, we predicted sales of 4,664, where the ERP predicted no sales. So if you relied on that number for reordering, you obviously would have, under-ordered and probably lost some sales of one of your highest moving items for that month. And, one thing that you have to ask yourself, even if your current forecast accuracy is at, 75%, for your, you have to ask yourself, what's it going to do for your business if, you can get to that, 90%, threshold there. So I'm going to dive into the application, and it's a cloud-based system, and I'm already logged in, but you log in with a username and password. And right now, you're looking at the forecast detail page within the Thrive app. And just some details of the page that you can see at the bottom here, you're looking at 3 years of history with a 12-month forecast. So the system, it does a best fit forecast every weekend, and then each week the forecast gets redone based on the latest data. And you can see right here, the system, we ran 416 different forecasting models for this SKU. and the current forecast accuracy for the most recent month is at 89%. We'll also calculate and monitor, various other accuracy and metrics for each SKU, including, mean average, mean deviation, mean average deviation percent, and mean squared error. These error calculations are really just as important as the forecast accuracy because some SKUs, they're very unpredictable in sales. So we use these error calculations as an input in calculating the optimal safety stock to carry for each SKU. And this item, it has a 105-day lead time, a 1793 MSC, and we're holding 5,048 units in safety stock. Some other details of the page that kind of stand out to me, you can see here September 2013, and then also in October of 2013, you can see those items, those numbers are highlighted with that dark purple exclamation mark. The system is highlighting those months with that mark, and it filters it from the demand history automatically. And then you can see that these numbers right here with the light purple exclamation mark, it's giving you the option to alert you to maybe if you wanted to filter it from the demand history. I'm also going to pull up another report here for forecast accuracy. Because we are measuring and calculating and are measuring our own forecast accuracy. And this, for example, right here, you can see last month, the actual demand was 3.9 million. Thrive forecasted 3.8 million, so that was at a 96% accuracy. And we're going to provide reporting like this within the app on a 3-month rolling plan. So by providing, this forecast accuracy report, as well as the forecast accuracy and error metrics within the app that you just saw, we're measuring and providing that feedback loop so that you get to know when things get off track and really need to be adjusted. If a product category took off and it started to drop in forecast accuracy, it alerts the users to adjust some settings to make it more, reactive to the latest demand, and it allows the forecast to get higher faster. Otherwise, you'd end up underbuying for that hot category. Within the app itself, within the forecast accuracy, if you have a lot of, extreme seasonality within items, we can help you tremendously with that. And if that's something that, you would like to learn more about, make sure you get a hold of me at the end, and we can go over that at another time. But we can help tremendously with that extreme seasonality. The next discipline is the third is proactivity. And companies that use our system, they just become they're more proactive with their inventory. What I'm going to do is go back into the app here, and I'm going to actually look at our replenishment end of our system here. So I'm going to pull up an individual SKU, and I'm just using some dummy data here, but I'm just picking any SKU here just to show you the replenishment end of our system, because we can also help you with the replenishment as well as the forecasting. And you can see here, this is the replenishment page, and your ERP system does a point-in-time calculation, where Thrive it creates a 52-week plan. So we're looking at this replenishment detail screen. You can see that we have 343 on hand. We have none due on an open PO. We're going to show you the amount of time supply you have for each item. So you can see we have 55 days of supply, 11 weeks of supply. You can see that we've sold 626 units year to date and averaging 151 units over the last 12 months. Thrive is forecasting 1,811 units over the next 12 months right here. The weekly forecast is across this top line right here, and you can see it's anywhere between 14 and 36 units. And then you can quickly go back on over to the forecasting page from here, and you can see that for 2016, May, we're forecasting 108, June 139, and so forth. Now, the other thing that we can help you with is lost sales. And the system, it's using an accurate forecast to estimate how much lost sales are upcoming and profit. And a report like this can be used, to be distributed to your buying team so they can have visibility to the upcoming lost profits and really prioritize appropriately. And the reason why we can estimate your lost sales so accurately is because, we know that they're very difficult to track, but what we do in the system is we know when you have zero on hand and when there's a forecast in place, so we can estimate those lost sales and also project those lost sales in the future. So you can see here on line 5, for example, on this particular item, you had 70 units on hand. You're predicted to be out of stock in 58 days. You're selling about 18 units per day, and that's about, potentially about $18,000, $19,000 in lost sales, $12,000 in gross margin for that particular stock. Stock SKU. So what I'm going to also do right here is I'm going to go back into the app, and I'm going to kind of just, take you through the day in a life of a planner, how, they would use our system, in their everyday way of business. So let me just fix the system here. So you would log into the system. You would, on a daily basis, you'd log in, you'd see items that are being alerted right here. And you can see 94 items are being alerted for the day. So you log in, and you can sort these however you want. You can see over here, you could look at them by lost sales, lost margin. You can see, if you have potentially, you could lose, $7,000. But I'm going to sort these by which are closest to their minimum. So this one right here, Gen Plug, is at 55%. You can see this one's at $19,000 in lost sales, but I'll just pick, Gen Plug. So you can see this minimum right here, it's $4,000, and currently we're at, $2,389. So you could build this order up today by clicking Apply Bracket. If I click Apply Bracket, and these right here, so the system is looking at all the items that you buy from this vendor, and then it adds a day of supply to each item, and then it's checking to see if you're at that minimum, and it helps you reduce those fill-in orders because, all items need to be ordered at the same time. And then it's highlighting the ones in green here. These are the ones that it's adding to the order. And you can see it added also 77 days of supply to the order. You can see it added some, B, D, C items. So the system's really providing you with enough intelligence to decide if you really want to place this order. Maybe you don't want 77 days of supply, so you don't place the order. This orders page also, shows you some other significant information here up to the top, including lead times, due in orders, order quantity, weight, pack size. You can also, click the F or the R here for forecasting or replenishment. It's going to allow you to evaluate items for the demand that occurred, how effective it's going to be. And if you do any forward buying from this page as well, for it to gain incremental price increments, if you get dealer buys, maybe you get a 15% discount, for example, if you purchase a certain amount, and maybe you don't want 188 you definitely don't want more than 180 days of supply, 6 months. And if you calculated the buy, the system then calculates the optimal items and quantities to buy based on that discount, and it's trading up the savings whether or not you should, have that additional carrying cost there. So, as I've mentioned, our system, it's a cloud-based system. We're the first company in our space to go to the cloud, and that was in 2005. What the cloud allows us to do, it allows us to tap into an unlimited amount of processing power. For example, that gives us that capability to do those crazy complex forecast formulas for each of your SKUs. That really could never have been done 15 years ago. It also, what the cloud does, it allows us to provide the measurement, where we're constantly measuring our system, and accuracy. And for a system like ours to measure its performance, like of its own settings constantly over time, it really requires a lot of data storage. And a reason why an ERP like SX can't possibly do it, your ERP has to manage a lot more than just the inventory. And you're probably running it on one server with limited storage. We have access to unlimited storage. So, we store a lot of data for each of our clients. And it's really how we're able to do inventory optimization and how our system can measure itself and adjust its own settings. And, as far as, measuring ourselves and measuring our performance, you can even, analyze that within the app on the inventory performance screen within the app. Within this, inventory performance page, we will be able to show you any grouping. Here, for example, you're looking at the total view of your whole company. And you could also go to a specific product category. But the system, it stores up data every month. So you can see the trends in dollars and time supply. And you can see it in 3 months and 6 months. And Thrive's also going to break down your inventory. 3 reasons you're holding your inventory, the volatility of sales, your lead times, and also your current order cycle, whether it be weekly and monthly. So you have to have a certain amount of inventory to cover all that. And we break down and calculate, those inventory category holdings in the different components. You can see the trends over time. So if you had to change policies for a certain reason, such as interest rates going up, you can make adjustments in the settings, and also you can look at some of your lost sales projections right here. And as I said, we can accurately predict lost sales because we know when there's a forecast in place and when we can estimate those lost sales. So in a nutshell, this is, how the Thrive system gets data from your SX.e system and the workflow. And this is basically the process that occurs and how frequently. Every weekend, Thrive is going to get your most recent demands automatically through our integration. Thrive runs the forecast for 52 weeks for each of your SKUs at each of your locations. And then daily, every night, Thrive is going to collect the data such as, everything on hand, your open POs and sales receipts. And then the system is going to crunch a bunch of numbers and create alerts and build orders for orders close to their minimums for the buyers to review and pushing the orders up to their minimums if needed. And then they can cut the PO, and then it's going to create that pre-purchase order. And as I said, it's a large enterprise system, and this is just like a brief overview. If you wanted to get a little more depth about seasonality or anything like that, we're glad to get a hold of us. But I'd like to open up to questions. And also, I've got a screen up here where you can contact either me or Rick via phone or email right here.
Okay, let's take a quick look here. Sorry, I got a little distracted. Questions? Don't see any questions right now. Let's open this up. Yeah, we don't have any questions.
Okay.
With their hand raised either.
But if you do have any questions, you know how to get a hold of us, and there on the screen right now you can see where my email address is as well as Rick's.